Hello friends, it is Timbot here at the Toronto Tool Library, and I'm doing my best to answer your questions. Let's go to the help tickets, shall we? So we're starting off with a question from Herman, and Herman writes, hello, my name is Herman. I'm elated to discover that you guys are a couple of blocks away from my house. That's awesome. I'm hopeful about using your 3D printer as I have a Creality Ender 3 that I had to leave behind in Vancouver when I came to Toronto. Feel for you, Herman. Creality makes an awesome printer. In a second, I'm going to take you back and show you the setup that we've got here in the library. And you'll notice that we actually have 3 Ender 3s. And to be honest, we've had an amazing, solid performance from them right from day one. So, first part of your question, is the entrance to the Makerspace free on community night, Wednesdays 5 to 10? Now, unfortunately, no, it is not at this time. That has been a long-time fixture of the Tool Library, but we are dealing with somewhat changed conditions these days because of the COVID pandemic. We have an upper limit of folks that we can have in the space at any given time. We also have some pretty stringent contact tracing measures in place. And unfortunately, I'm sure you're watching the news and you've noticed that cases are going up, not down in Toronto. At the time that I'm answering this question, the city has gone to a code red, as it's called. So it is really hard to say when that would be enabled again. So currently the Makerspace is open. And it's available to members. When members arrive, they need to check in. They're assigned a specific bench to work on, and then that becomes sort of your safe zone. You'll see when I take you back there that we've set up screens at all of the stations. And so we're doing our very best to ensure everyone's safety and to ensure that we're operating in a way that it meets the recommendations, frankly, of the CDC. So unfortunately, the short answer to that one is no, there is no open community night at this time. So what does that mean? Well, it means you've got a couple of options. There is the day pass available, and then there's also the monthly pass that's available. And then, of course, your other option is to take the workshop, which costs actually, it's comparable to a day pass, but with it, you get a free day pass, right? So you could learn everything that you need, get really used to the setup here, and then get a free day pass to go with it, come in and do all of your printing on that free day pass. And that would be a pretty good way to go. So I hope that option will help take some of the sting out of the fact that we don't have our free community night at this time. So this sort of leads to the second part of your question. Is it hard to get time on the 3D printer? No, it's not hard at all, actually. We have enough printers here that we haven't really run into problems with getting access to them. And again, as kind of a function of the whole pandemic, we just don't have as many people here right now. We're working on that, but at this time, there's no problem with access whatsoever. You'd have no trouble with it. The other thing that I'll mention, since we're talking about it, is that we have no objection to long prints. I know some other areas like the Toronto Public Library, you can run into a situation where your print is too long and so they won't accept it. If you want to put on a print and let it run overnight, we pretty much always have people coming through here and they'll, keep an eye on your print for it. If it runs into a problem, we'll let you know. So you can feel free to do a long print. And then the other question that you asked was, how much do you charge per gram for the 3D printer? So here is our super sophisticated little measuring device. And it is labeled right here on the scale that it is 10 cents per gram. So what does that translate to in real terms? Well, I brought along a couple of our prints. So first off, we have this beautiful little Asian dragon. And I don't have the exact figures on the infill used on this, but it's fairly solid. And so this one comes in at a hefty 96 grams, right? So if you're figuring, you know, it's like 10 cents per gram. Then right over here, we have a slightly lighter, I think, Buddha. This one has less infill, and if we measure this one out, well, this is only coming in at 51 grams. So hopefully between these two, it can give you kind of a rough idea of what you'd be looking at for filament costs. All right? Now, let me take you on back and show you the setup in the space. Now, before I do, I'm going to do the right thing here. I'm going to throw on a mask. So you might have to listen a little bit carefully to hear me here. But let's head on back just so I can walk you through. You'll know what to expect. All right, so let's head on back. It is Friday night. Got a couple people in the wood shop, but that should not bother us. All right, here we go. So Herman, this is the setup. These are the three Ender 3s, as you would be very familiar with. We basically keep these little enclosures on them just to shield them from dust, basically. I've also printed ABS in here in addition to PLA, and you know, I feel like having this this little enclosure on here helps to keep some of the heat from the heat bed inside. I've gotten some pretty sweet ABS prints off of these. Up top you can see a few more of the items that have been done here. You can sort of see some examples of some of the little tricks you might learn if you take one of the workshops. For instance, this right here, if you can see this shiny finish here, this is basically PLA that has been treated with an epoxy. Comes out looking almost like glass. It's awesome. Or marble, maybe. Now right up top here, you're also going to find the Prusa. These are the Prusa Mark III. And these are used by some of the folks in the space that have a good deal of 3D printing experience, right? But if you're interested in using those, we can definitely help you out and assist you with giving them a try. Maybe you've been curious about the difference between the Ender 3 and the Prusa. To be honest, in my opinion, you can get great results from either of them. The Prusa does a little more for you. For instance, it's got auto bed leveling, and you know that obviously can be the difference between a good print or spaghetti on the print bed. So yeah, so you got a little look at the space. You've got a little look at our printer setup, and hopefully that answers your questions, Herman. And we'll look forward to seeing you around the space. It's great that you're nearby. That's awesome. Hope to see you in here frequently. All right, let's move on to our next question, shall we?